Okay, there was actually a video I kind of wanted to watch, made by Dr. K. It's a little bit of I guess a topic a lot of people have been talking about lately with why our brain makes games not fun. You know, all those people always complaining about now these days, like where like games are not fun anymore. They used to be better than they were. I saw this video and it actually did look kind of interesting. I haven't watched it, but we'll see what it is, right? Dr. K, hello.
Royales are so addictive and people play them so much is because of the denial of reward. The fact that you don't always win actually makes it like far more addicting.
True. Yeah. I don't know what context that was, but true.
Right. I don't feel enjoyment from video games anymore, and what can I do about it? I never have much of a social life, so I usually spent most of my time playing video games. But it's been about a decade of that being the thing that I do in my free time. And what I'm noticing now is I have a mental block when it comes to starting new games and playing one in general. I only manage to play games I get addicted to not enjoy. For example, CSGO. It's a time sink that I'm only ever able to play, and at this point, I can only play games for the sake of playing them. So I was just wondering if there was a way for me to not only be able to start games I want to play, but enjoy them too. So this is...
That does make sense. That does make sense.
A situation where someone's been playing games for 10 years. They also have noticed that the only games that they can play are the ones that they don't enjoy. And they can't even start to play new games because they don't enjoy it anymore. And they actually want to learn how to enjoy games again. So we're going to start by sharing.
I know what you're going to say. Yeah, with WoW. Okay, listen, I do enjoy it still. Okay, I actually have fun playing WoW still. I do enjoy the hardcore challenge. I do like that. Okay, so it's one of those things. Okay, and I still actually do enjoy playing games. Okay, in my perspective. All right.
2 or maybe 3 principles of neuroscience, and then we're going to go to some practical advice. So the first principle of neuroscience to understand, or maybe psychology, is that people have done numerous studies on why video games are addictive, okay? And so when I say addictive, what that means is, remember, an addiction is something that reinforces a behavior. And this will get to principle neuroscience too in a second. But why games are addictive is actually the denial of reward. So what makes
it makes stuff more fun when you get something, when you've been working towards something for a long time. I guess this is sort of true with the hardcore challenge too. I want to get to 60 so bad, but I keep getting denied. I keep not getting there, so I want to get there, right? I want to get to 60, so I keep going, you know?
What makes a game addictive is not winning, but the fact that you don't always win.
Yeah.
So part of the reason that battle royales became so addictive, and in some parameters, Fortnite, for example, is the most successful game ever in some dimension. So if you look at the rate at which Fortnite dominated the market and how much money they made, how quickly, Fortnite is number 1 in some parameters.
Bro, back when I played League of Legends, and if anyone has played League of Legends before, you know this. When you lose, you can't end on a lose. You have to end on a win. And if you win, you can't end on a win because now you're on a streak. It's actually it's true, man. It's just one more game, man. I swear to God, just one more game.
And so why is that? What's the whole thing? Wouldn't you think, don't people like playing video games? But then you have a game like Fortnite where I think you have 100 players that are competing for one victory spot. And so I think part of what they I don't know that they sort of did this intentionally, but part of the reason why battle royales are so addictive and people play them so much is because of the denial of reward.
Yeah.
So the fact that you don't always win actually makes it far more addicting. So that has nothing to do with fun, and we'll get to that in a second, okay?
It's like you're chasing the dragon, man. You're constantly chasing the dragon. You never quite get there, but you get really close. And sometimes you do catch it, but then the new dragon spawns, and you can change that dragon, you know?
So first thing to understand is that the addiction aspect, playing a video game despite not enjoying it and not being able to quit, despite not having fun, has to do with an addiction. And that has to do with dopamine and our reinforcement kind of circuitry. So there's the mesolimbic circuit in the brain, which sort of governs this, and the main neurotransmitter is dopamine. And so that's behavioral reinforcement, and the denial of reward strongly stimulates that system. It's also why gambling is so addictive, because you don't always win, right? So the random reinforcement schedule is more addicting.
When you win, dude, it's pockers in the chat. Yeah, that's how it goes, right?
Consistent reinforcement.
And then you want to win again.
The second thing to understand, if it's addictive, why don't I have fun? So the circuits in your brain that involve dopamine reward circuits and behavioral reinforcement are actually separate from the hedonic circuits of the brain.
So we're learning today, guys, okay? Just take notes. We're actually learning.
The reward circuit...
I'm not addicted to pausing, okay? I just want to look ping pong bang in the chat.
And the hedonic separates are technically separate. And this is kind of how we understand this, okay? So the hedonic circuits of the brain actually involve like different receptors and even use things like endocannabinoids and like different compounds. So a lot of like pleasure seeking and like pleasure and enjoyment isn't necessarily the dopamine circuit. They're actually discrete circuits. Dopamine's also involved in pleasure because the brain isn't, it's not simple like that. Like there's just circuit 1 and circuit 2. But we do know that the experience of pleasure and the experience of like motivation and reward and behavioral reinforcement are actually somewhat separate. And we know this actually by studying the brains of people with schizophrenia. So what we know in the brains of people with schizophrenia is that like reinforcing behavior is very difficult for them. But their pleasure actually doesn't decrease. So for example, like if someone has bad schizophrenia, it's going to be really hard for them to like cook themselves a meal. But whether they cook it or not, they still enjoy or derive just as much pleasure from it. And so people got pretty confused and they were trying to figure out like if people with schizophrenia are still like getting pleasure out of it, why don't they do it? And this is when they stumbled upon...
I know now why I'm really... I had a problem in school paying attention a lot. And I think it's because when somebody talks for a very long time, I space out and I stop paying attention. And I start thinking about, what am I gonna eat tomorrow? Or like, what did I have for breakfast? Or like, what am I gonna eat later today? I literally like to stop my brain to start like talking about like not talking, but like I start like, okay, well that's a pretty nice floor, it's like it's like that's how it goes for me, man. Like long talking like that is like that, right?
Upon this discovery that hedonics,
I do that too, bro. It's bad.
And like motivational drive are actually separate circuits. So I suspect what's going on is that you've got some kind of like problem here in terms of you've got some circuit in your brain that has developed a habit and has almost like an addictive kind of nature to it. And this also goes back to, we had a lecture recently about ADHD and substance use. And remember that like when you start using a substance, there are like different phases of addiction. So in the first phase, it's like stimulates a particular part of brain and you have fun with it. And then as an addiction sets into your brain, it actually travels from more of your like prefrontal cortex and mesolimbic system into your striatum, and it moves to a different part of your brain, and then it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, the reward, like the pleasure from it starts to decrease.
Honestly, that does make sense. Yes, I actually do understand that. That does make sense because when something becomes a habit, it's just something you just end up doing it, right? Yeah, it's okay. I guess the best example for me is like, I used to wake up really late in the morning, and then because I woke up late in the morning, I would go down to Lidl and buy an energy drink because, I was tired and I needed an energy drink. Like, I didn't need it, but I wanted one, right? And at some point, it just became a habit to do that, right? And I would go down, buy my 3 croissants or 2 donuts, and then my energy drink, and then bing, bong, bang in the chat, every single day. But now we're not doing that anymore. Yeah, now I'm healthy. That's good.
So we kind of see this a lot in long-term gamers where they're addicted to the game, but they don't even have fun playing it. Like even think about like MOBAs or like CSGO is a really good example of this where like it's really easy to tilt. Like if you actually, take someone who plays 8 hours of games a day, the amount of positive feeling that they generate from playing the game is actually outweighed by the negative feeling, right? And so there's another kind of principle here where remember that the video game doesn't just give you pleasure, it also takes away pain from other parts of your life. So playing video games, this is something that's pretty consistent, is it kind of numbs out your mind and like protects you against the negative stuff.
It's like an escape, right, in a way. You're like, you go in and you play some WoW and you're like, you're hanging out with the boys, bing, bong, bang, talk some shit, have fun, do a raid, maybe level a little bit, do whatever you want, right? Like, or I play League or whatever. It's like, you're chilling.
Those are a couple of interesting neuroscientific principles about, why you can get stuck playing a game and not even enjoy it and not be able to quit. The next thing is kind of naturally becomes, okay, so then what do you do about it? So the simplest way to stop playing games or even start because this person's question wasn't how do I stop playing games.
He wants to enjoy
them.
How
do I start enjoying them again?
Yeah.
Is to actually do a dopamine detox. So we have a YouTube video about this, but I think that resetting all of those neurotransmitters and neurochemicals and like the ratio of like receptors to like what's being secreted, I've seen good progress happen in about 2 weeks for most people. So like don't play any video games and ideally steer clear of technology for about 2 weeks. No Reddit.
That's really hard to do though. If it's something you're doing every day, that is fucking hard to do. Like completely get off it, right? That's actually difficult. But if you can do it though, you're pog champing.
No YouTube or anything like that. You know, grab a book. Like it helps if you kind of do this over like a vacation or something like that. We've got a whole video about it. But if you engage...
Honestly, I do remember this. Every time, we would sometimes go on vacations, not that often, but like sometimes my family would go on vacation, and my mom would have us all like leave our phones and everything at home. So we would go on that vacation with like nothing, basically, with only like clothes and stuff like that. So we would just have to like talk and do whatever. And it was actually a good idea looking back at it. Obviously, I hated it back then, because I wanted to like, you know, message my friends or whatever, but looking back at it, that was actually like a really good choice that my mom did that. No, she took all our phones, we put them all in like a shelf or whatever, and we all left without our phones or any like electronics or anything like that. Yeah, we all did that, and it was good because like, first of all, our family got to bond a lot better, like talk to each other, like hang out. And we were like getting away from all the daily life, right? Which is really good. I actually, that was really good that my mom did that, but I hated it back then. I did not enjoy that she did that, but looking back at it, it was very, very good.
In a dopamine detox and reset your dopamine circuitry, like if you kind of like abstain from video.
We would bring books and like card games and stuff like that. That's what we would that was what we would bring. So like we would bring some books, we would bring some card games and anything like that, and then that's how we would do it. Yeah.
Video games or other like short hanging technology for a period of 2 weeks, you will find that you're able to engage in more pleasurable activity, and even games will start being fun again.
True.
So I noticed that back when I was like addicted to video games, they weren't even fun. And now when I play video games, they're lots of fun.
Yeah,
like I love playing video games. They're so much fun. And I wish I could do it more. But this is the kind of thing where it's sort of like the more you do it, the less pleasurable it becomes, right?
The same thing. It's hard. It's difficult for me to say this, but like, I guess I have it a little bit as well. When you work every day, like Monday to Friday or whatever Monday to Saturday, whatever you do, when you finally get a weekend, it feels so fucking good. But if you don't work at all or you don't do anything, it feels horrible. Because like, well, it's just another day. You know, it's just another day of, you know, not working or like not doing anything. So it's just, okay, whatever. But if you're very busy in your daily life and you do all stuff all the time, hang out with people, like you're very active, when you finally get to just relax, it is like the best, man. So I can really relate with what he's saying for sure, man. I really, really can.
Right. So I'd say the fastest way is to dopamine detox. Now, remember that dopamine detox is people don't understand this. They don't know what to expect. So the main thing about dopamine detox is to remember that like the main enemy in dopamine detox is going to be boredom. So you will be bored for 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you're like, what you have to survive is like a period of boredom, which sounds terrifying. It's why everyone takes their cell phones to use the bathroom, right?
I really like Dr. K. He's like actually 5 brain. He's like 5 hit. I like his takes and stuff.
Because like the idea of being bored, even for a brief amount of time and having nothing to do, is like oddly terrifying to us. So if you guys want like an easy practice to prep you for a dopamine detox, it's very simple, but it's also kind of hard, but you can do it. Is every time you go to the bathroom, don't take your cell phone. Don't take anything to do when you use your bathroom.
I do that. I fucking do that. I hate that I do it, and I know I should not do it. I take my phone anywhere. Like if I go to the kitchen to make food, I have my phone. If I go to the toilet, I have my phone. I always have my phone. And it's such a bad habit, but I do have it. It's like, fuck me, dude. I'm so bad at that. And I know I do it. It's like hard not to do it. Under the shower, I would if I could, probably.
Bathroom. Just go to the bathroom and just do the bathroom. And if you really think about it, it's like, oh my God, I need the cell phone so bad.
True. This is true. Like I'm at home, and if my phone is like at 10% battery, I'm like, fuck, shit, you know, I'm like in trouble. But it's like, dude, what am I gonna do? Scroll down Twitter, look at Booba? I don't know, man. Like I don't
No,
know.
you don't. Like you'll be in there like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Like if you're unlucky, like 10 minutes. Right? You'll survive. It'll be okay. Right? And so like you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like just go. Like every time when you do a number 2, like don't take your cell phone.
It's cozy though. Oh shit, no.
Go without it. Easy. That's a good way to prep for a dopamine detox. There's a whole video.
It's cozy though, you know, sit there, you know, get your phone, scroll a little bit, maybe put on some music, dude, shit, dog, you know, fuck me.
About how to dopamine detox well. So we kind of go into a lot of details about it. So check that video out on our YouTube channel. Okay?
Oh, there it is, guys. Actually, good video. If you guys want to watch the video, I will link it in the chat. Actually, really good video, man. He has some really good takes on it. I really, really like how he explains stuff and how he explains stuff in a way where I can understand it, right? Which is good. Like he's really good at explaining stuff in an understandable way. So yeah, I'll link the video in the chat, guys, if you guys want to look at it. There it is. Guzu gang. 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 Okay, that should be enough. That should be good. Guzu gang. Guzu gang. Guzu gang. Guzu gang. Guzu gang. Guzu gang.